afternoon. It's 12:14 in the afternoon. So good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Here I am driving in Virginia, heading to Washington DC. Again, one of my favorite view here is this place, right? What's going on here? Everybody's slow. The guy is slow. I don't know if I should pass him, but yeah, I hope you're enjoying the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. Today's the day that people are having a day off, and that's why you don't see traffic here. The traffic is very light because people have gone home to enjoy, to celebrate, to appreciate the man who was advocating for the common people. So yeah, here we are. Early in the morning, the temperature was 27 degrees, actually like 22 degrees outside. It was extremely cold. My car was frozen, but right now it's 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So temperature has improved so much better, from 27 to 40, almost 41 degrees. It's a huge, I want to say it's just a big jump, you know, going from that temperature to this temperature. Wow, this guy's braking so much. I'll get over here. He's braking and braking and braking. I'm gonna pass him real quick. So today I've been talking to some people, and people, they are struggling with one thing. They cannot secure a full-time job. People are having a hard time getting jobs, and I'm talking about like professionals. Normally it will take more than 6 months to get a job as a professional, and it will take more than a week to find a job if you are like looking for restaurant jobs or weekend jobs, like part-time jobs. But those jobs now, they are gone, like they're not even existing, you know. And people are having a very, very hard time getting jobs. I have no clue why, but today on January 19, 2026, we are remembering a man who was very socialist. MLK believed that capitalism has failed American people. This is 1960. I wasn't even born. Like literally, like nobody was thinking about gonna be. Not actually, even my parents are not born yet. 60. In the 60s, a man was thinking, you know what? Capitalism has failed many and many Americans. But look at these highways, completely empty. These guys are driving freely. Alright. Capitalism has failed many Americans, something that has been a problem for many, many years. So these guys back in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, they were thinking maybe socialism is better. This is 60s, right? Maybe socialism is better. Maybe we should adapt to socialism, where everybody's equal, you know, no rich person, no poor person, everybody's equal, right? There's no economic output, everybody inputs in, right? Even though that sounds like a good idea, it's not actually possible, but it sounds like it was something that people are looking into it, you know. But anyways, here we are, you know, and nobody has it easy. Capitalism is not, you know, people are working, people are employed, nobody's like struggling, but there are people who are just cannot make it, and the number is increasing. 4, 5, 6, 8 million American adults cannot find work. And those are like young people, graduates. But you also have super experienced people who can barely get a full-time job. And you have folks here on this building, in this area over here, in Washington DC, who defends the idea of capitalism. Right? They believe that capitalism should exist, but then we should take the money from those who are richer, give to the poor. But that money should come with a price tag on it. Why is this guy stopping here? What's going on here? There's a traffic here because people come from the other side and they merging. There's always traffic here. So here we are. These guys that you see are driving right now, these guys are struggling. Okay, everybody has struggling. No one has it easy. Then those who have money, those who are richer, they are constantly pressured. They have to pay property taxes. They have to pay, like it's very, very hard. In America, the only way to survive here is to be extremely poor, do nothing, right? Do nothing, have nothing. You'll be happy in America. Have something, you're in trouble. Okay. Then if you become extremely rich, a billionaire, then you're also in trouble because you are constantly you have to keep buying yourself out. You have to keep buying your way out. You have to keep bribing politicians to not bother you or to not, attack you. Okay, when you're a billionaire, when you are like super rich in America, you are constantly buying yourself. That's why you see these people, billionaires, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, giving billions of donations to politicians so that they don't get attacked, right? But when you are a working class in America, you are the enemy. You are the ones who gets taxed. You are the ones who gets thrown around, right? You are the one who gets treated like garbage by politicians. It's a problem. So people start to consider, should socialism be seen as a way to survive? And the people who defend capitalism are poor people and the rich people. They are the biggest enemy of progress. Because when people are super rich, they incentivize people, they don't create jobs or play a big role in helping politicians pay taxes, improve the community, hire people. They create divisions and problems. When people are super poor, they also make poor decisions. So it's what we see right now in Washington DC. It's having, and I mean not DC, but all over the United States, it's having a huge income gap between the rich and the poor. When that happens, those people make terrible decisions that ruins people's lives. So today, the middle class people back in the 60s, they are the ones who decided to say, you know what, we are going to pass the Civil Rights Act. We are going to pass anti-discrimination laws, right? They make decisions. They decide. times like this where you have less where you have more poor people, not poor people, but people who are unemployed, they can't find jobs, entrepreneurs cannot find customers, because back in 2019 there was this popularity of work for yourself, have your own business, start plumbing, start mechanic, excuse me, work for a smaller job and move up. That is no longer working today. It's not working anymore, because who's gonna buy a service? If you are a plumber, who's gonna hire you to fix their house if they don't have money, right? Rich people, they have jobs. Middle income people, they would have you fix their air condition, fix their plumbing issues if they have a job they're working at. If they're working at Wells Fargo as investors or workers. Look at this guy. Why does he look angry? Why does he look upset? So it's one of those reasons that tends to come out in my mind, thinking, okay, maybe the government needs to get involved in it. I think the government needs to start investing. I think the US government has not been doing enough to put in the money and build factories, build jobs, build infrastructure, just pumping the money, right? Trump's idea of deporting migrants is not going to help us. It actually did the opposite. One of the reasons why we are struggling right now is because Trump is deporting migrants. Migrants play a big role. They consume, they buy, right? They spend, right? They work. They are very productive. When he deported the migrants, almost all the everything pretty much started to scramble, and the US cannot survive without. No one country has ever been able to survive without migrants. Even China has a lot of migrants from Vietnam and from Japan who go to work there. Okay, so I don't get the idea of anti-migrants. I don't know. I don't get that point. But here is the Trump's pictures. Says "Free America." I don't know if you can see. Walkout. Oh, this was a movement to encourage people to walk out of the government, something like that. This is like anti-Trump propaganda stuff, which I don't buy into. Yes, you disagree with him, but also like stuff like this doesn't really bother me a lot. But anyway, yeah, deporting migrants has been a big problem, but also even before that, even during under Trump administration, yeah, something happened. Maybe it's technology, I don't know. People didn't like technology, even though we think there's been an improvement of technology, but has it actually been an improvement of technology? I don't know. China is developing really fast, right? They are using technology, they are innovating, they come up with new ideas, and they're doing better. They're not like having issues with high cost of living. Yes, there is an employment rate in the United States, but in the US, you can have a job and still barely survive here. Okay, that's the problem in the United States. You can have a job but barely survive. Corporations owns everything. They owned everything and anything. Then the government also owns everything. They tax you to death, right? So you can barely survive in the United States. And now I don't mind if they did taxing people. I don't mind if they taxed Americans, property tax, income tax, dividends tax, like all the taxes people have to pay. And then if they would have made some services at least either cheaper or at least affordable. Like education is very expensive in America. The average 18-year-old American kid has like $100,000 debt, and then they're not gonna get employed at all. I'm not talking about immigrants. Immigrants, if I get debts of $100,000, I don't care. I'm a migrant. I came here as an adult. I start from scratch. People who are born here, they have debt, like huge debt, just for a simple degree, like photography. That's not gonna pay them, and then they're gonna work in in a museum getting paid $10 an hour. If you do the math, it doesn't make any sense in any way, shape or form. And people think it's okay. And do you know who thinks it's okay? A poor person who definitely didn't go to college, and also a rich billionaire who also born in a rich family, and think it's okay. People like Elon Musk, oh, they think it's okay. They think it's alright. People like poor people in Mississippi and Louisiana, they think it's okay. They are extremely poor and they don't care, right? Because they get the benefits, they get everything they want from the government. But if you wanna go to school and get educated and improve the society, right? Be innovative, be creative, it costs a lot of money. If you wanna buy a house, you and your family, government will tax you to death. That's the problem. And this disincentivizes innovation. Now you wonder why US cannot innovate. When you see all Chinese companies, they are basically funded by American corporations, because Americans, they want to go over there, do business over there, because they have more educated people over there than here, right? I don't understand why. It's the same thing, by the way, in Africa. In Africa, the richer you are, the more they tax you. When you are rich, actually Africa is like US. There's no difference really, except that people over there are more corrupt. But they're the same thing. They are for them they are anti-rich people, yeah, and also like pro poor people. But anyway, then the point here is that the government of the United States needs to invest money. I think US government needs to put more money. Okay, they need to borrow money and build infrastructure, build factories, build things that can last longer. Okay, improve things, change things. Welfare is one thing, but I'm not a social economist, so I don't know how the welfare system works. I don't know how food stamps, Medicaid works. I think there is I think the people out there who deserve those social services. People are disabled women, right? Extreme poor people, unemployed people, right? That's fine, but there are people in America who wants to work. Wait, is the light red, or I thought it was red. I didn't know it was green. I stopped. I thought it was green. People wants to work in America and they cannot find the jobs. Those people need to be employed, be productive. Okay. There has been also too much money put into research, and this research has never been able to produce any output. So money is there. There is money out there, but corporations are putting more money into research with the purpose of replacing workers with something else like robotics or AI. So we are in a stage where, these unregulated bureaucratic AI ideas that is not even real, people have been getting money a lot, which is another ways of money laundering, right? It's a money laundering. And the corporations are jumping on it because they know they cannot escape taxes, so they're doing money laundering. Now Trump is coming after corporations from buying houses, so you're gonna see even more money laundering coming up in different ways. And who's struggling? A poor person. Alright, if you live in America, if you cannot beat them, join them. Okay, that's the idea. If you cannot beat them, join them. So join the businesses, do businesses, right? If you can evade that, if you can evade the taxes, do so. You do you. Okay. Everybody here is trying to take as much as they can. Do what you can. You do you. That's all I have for today, and thanks for watching. Like always, ciao ciao, adios, and bye bye. I'm gonna speak Russian before I leave. Spasiba. Thank you so much.